whispers of things and ideas, a pastiche of fabrications, coming down upon the myriad. Those words, phrases, subtle suggestions, maligned manifestations, as more start to follow staunchly the shiniest sentinel, who gathers them all up for the winnowing, decrying the inverse is the perverse, and the truth is buried in their own footsteps. A nightmare origin, one filled with despair, death, destruction. Those beloved tranquil meandering days, lost within the sunlight on blades of grass. Those endless strange nights, exploring the murky depths of consciousness, developing a mercenary mindset. And now far out of reach and beyond any periphery, a strange entity consisting of unmeasurable quantities, monitoring unknown languages, methods, strategies. To exist and live is a monstrous act, and those that seek to justify, to rationalize, philosophize a balance of sorts through an ambiguity, absurdity of words, use them as a salve for their consciousness and continue wearing their visage brazenly within the myriad. Crowding and cramming, all crushing the myriad, together existing now as a condensed communique, conjointly stitched and inherently tethered to the fable, creating a new contingency. We demand that all oppressors recognize, accept the realities we deem through our worldviews, despite the various attributes of the fists we hoist into the air. We foist them all onto those that we identify as our oppressors, those that are so conveniently placed on and across platforms, pedestals, pillars, plinths. Fear-mongering through this charade, pretense, let me be vague and duplicitous and disingenuous, playing up to the role of ideologue, demagogue, the fanfare that the zealots demand, want, need. It is necessary, a necessity. I exist because my opposite exists. Beyond mere monetary mercenary machinations, I position, posture, place myself, ideals, perceptions above all. No counterpart contends, ingeniously occupying, sometimes constructing my identity, depending on my place within the partisan line. I continue to subtract, separate, reduce those principled, parsed philosophies, removing, rearranging, remitting segments to signify my specific, superficial, serendipitous spiraling into another maw, reaching rationality, reason, while desultorily pointing out the improprieties in each of the floating fragments, fulfilling my fears, frustrations, fantasies. Imagining my perfect progenitors, I spend my time craving, saving myself for those surrogates, and the belonging they will bring me, sustaining me with their every action, word. Their behavior is unquestionable, and I will conveniently ignore all and any of their improprieties, as they absolve me of my responsibility, accountability. scrambling frenziedly to locate a compass, inundated with rhetoric where each speech is a fustian folly. Speaking only to our lower nature, we clamor for more, following those built upon platforms of people, numbers, accrued through algorithmic rhythms. The doctrine we live, breathe, exist for, suspicion, trepidation, we spawn from its ever-changing litany, one we monitor, amend, with trepidation, faithfully watching the language, actions, behaviors of all we deem culturally inferior. Inquisition without question, particular sets of numbers, ranges, gauges, to determine ultimate, undying, undiminished loyalty, guided by perverted consensual agreements, manifesting in the form of well-organized, rhetorically constructed charts, graphs, strewn in between strands of ideological struggles. All in line with the same mind. All our words rhyme. Marching in rhythm, we have chosen the next Judas goat to venerate as we continue to write and revise our liturgical doctrine, filling it with our credence, policies, rules. She laughed like an aristocrat, throwing her head back, her eyes smiling, and all of those who seemed to cherish her and her advancement agreed with one another and used that sentiment to further their views, appeasing their cult mindset, running with the larger narrative until they could find someone else. Ready to hand over everything to a leader or to some board of opportunists or to a computer program, because that way it makes it easier for men and women of a particular mindset to avoid all accountability and responsibility, and everyone else can stay ignorant and stupid in their own little masturbatory bubbles. It is easy existing with such a simplistic notion, defining all of those others underneath an umbrella of mediocrity, attributing descriptors such as regular, ordinary to the myriad, without knowing for certain how to understand the average person's perception.